What's up, guys? Welcome to this edition of a Funko Podcast. I am DK Wrestler.
And I'm MD Shady.
And in today's podcast, it is another WWE related podcast, and it's actually the final WWE podcast in our, episodic saga of WWE podcasts, as we've done pretty much every era, and now we are covering basically the last 10 years of the WWE all in one podcast. Can't believe it already. We've already covered basically almost the entire timeline of the WWE as terms to, Funko Pops in this case, but nonetheless, we are going to be highlighting some of the superstars from the past 10 years. There were a lot to pick through, and there are some that we're going to have to mention in an honorable mentions, but nonetheless, MD, are you ready to finish off this series of WWE podcasts?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get right into this.
Alright, so the first superstar that we gotta talk about for this podcast, the big dog, the tribal chief, the OTC, Roman Reigns, Pensacola, Florida, 265 pounds, 4-time WWE champion, 2-time Universal champion, Intercontinental champion, United States champion, former tag team champion with Seth Rollins, the 28th Triple Crown champion, the 17th Grand Slam champion, and the winner of the 2015 Royal Rumble match.
Well, I definitely acknowledge my tribal chief. I love Roman Reigns. I always have. I don't know why there was such hate on him. I can kind of understand it, but I liked him way back in 2017, and then of course going through his leukemia process. That was very disheartening, but it's great that he's back now. And I mean, he's been an amazing heel, and now he's kind of face again, which is really cool. And it looks like the Usos are both back with him, which is really, really awesome. So good, and I've seen it from an early on stage, and it's good now to see that most of the WWE fan base kind of likes him, because he is truly one of the best that we have right now.
And when it comes to these podcasts, we are going to discuss about some matches that we like of said superstars. So for Roman Reigns, first off, the 6-man tag team match between the Shield and the Wyatt family from Elimination Chamber 2014. I also put down from his earlier years his match with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31, the match with Jey Uso at Clash of the Champions 2020 more specifically, and then I feel like you gotta talk about his 2 matches with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39 and 40 respectively. I feel like you can't talk about one without the other. Those have to be talked about at the same time.
Yeah, no, definitely with Cody. I mean, those were great. It was really cool to watch, of course, him win in 39 and then lose in 40.
And now, of course, because we are a Funko podcast, we gotta talk about the pops that are involved. So for Roman Reigns, there are 4 pops they have made. So the first one being number 23 in the WWE lineup, the OG pop from the early days of Roman Reigns' career prior to being the tribal chief. Then we go on to number 98. That is the first tribal chief Roman Reigns with the Wreck Everyone and Leave t-shirt and holding the Universal Championship. Then they made basically exact same pop. Number 111 is a part of a Pop and Tea bundle exclusive to Walmart, but he's wearing a white version of that shirt. And then the most recent Roman Reigns pop as of the recording of this podcast is number 131, where he is holding both the WWE and Universal Championships to become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion.
They're pretty cool. I'm glad that they've kind of changed some of the things that they've done with them. It's not just Shield version of Roman Reigns over and over again. And yeah, they're looking pretty sweet.
And then I thought I would mention about pops that we may want to see when it comes to the superstars. So for Roman Reigns, the first one I have listed down is a 2-pack with him and Paul Heyman. You can easily have Roman Reigns shirtless with the Ula Fala. Another one I think they'll probably end up doing is a in-ring moments with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 40. Just do whatever attires they were wearing that night, and then with the WrestleMania 40 style ring. And then I feel like at some point, probably knowing Funko, it will be at some point in 2025, it will be basically current Roman Reigns wearing an OTC t-shirt.
Yeah, I was basically thinking the exact same for those pops, but with that one with the OTC shirt, I would love to see a finger up if they're able to do that with the sculpting. That would be really, really cool.
Next superstar we're talking about is Seth Rollins, Davenport, Iowa, 225 pounds, 2-time WWE champion, 2-time Universal champion, the inaugural World Heavyweight champion, the inaugural NXT champion, 2-time Intercontinental champion, 2-time United States champion, 6-time Tag Team champion, twice with Dean Ambrose, once with Roman Reigns, Jason Jordan, Braun Strowman, and Buddy Murphy. He's the 29th Triple Crown champion, the 19th Grand Slam champion and the winner of the 2014 Money in the Bank ladder match and the 2019 Men's Royal Rumble match.
Seth frickin' Rollins. Yeah, I love Seth Rollins. And in his time in NXT, I was just like, this guy is gonna be special. Of course, yeah, he has gone on to basically do just about everything that you can do. He's awesome. He's an absolute fashion icon. I love his attires. I love the gimmick that he has right now where he just doesn't really care and he just laughs and he's just kind of just a weird guy. And I think that that really works for him, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
And then for matches that I ended up writing down, first one would be his match with John Cena at SummerSlam 2015, where of course it was winner takes all for both the United States and WWE World Heavyweight Championships. But then I also put down Seth Rollins versus Triple H from WrestleMania 33, and then I also put down for a more earlier Seth Rollins pre-current gimmick would be his match with AJ Styles at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view in 2019 for the Universal Championship. And then I thought I would mention here as some of my favorite matches of like the more current Seth Rollins. I guess you got to talk about all three of them at the same time. His trilogy of matches with Cody Rhodes when it comes to WrestleMania 38, Backlash 2022, and the infamous Hell in a Cell match where Cody Rhodes wrestled that entire match with a torn pec.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing a pretty good job of picking ones that I was thinking of. So off the top of my head, it's kind of hard to think. But yeah, a lot of matches with Seth Rollins are awesome. Of course, when injured his, what was it, his ACL? Is that what it was that he injured?
That would have been probably one of the things, because I think he tore multiple ligaments in his knee.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate thing to happen, but also a cool, like, kind of gimmicky way to show that, like, he's kind of hurt, like, later on in his career.
For Seth Rollins, there is a total of 3 Funko Pop, 2 of them being for number 24. There is the original one with the black outfit, and then they did it with the white outfit that's exclusive to FYE, which I thought was really cool instead of doing a common and chase. And then finally, after so long, in one of the recent sets of WWE Pops, number 158, it's more of the current Seth Rollins. And then I thought, you know what, I'll mention about the Pops I want to see next. I would love to see them somehow bring back, and I love this point of Seth Rollins, was when he was doing the Monday Night Messiah gimmick during the pandemic, and he could be wearing the one black glove. I think that'd be really cool. I feel like at some point they should do a Shield Seth Rollins with the vest, especially because you kind of did that with the OG Roman Reigns pop, and I think it was Royal Rumble 2022 when he had that match with Roman Reigns and actually came out to the Shield entrance music. And then I actually just summed it up as wacky outfits. Anything from like current Seth Rollins with like the weird, I remember one time he came out with like a orange feathered coat. You do got a current Seth Rollins, which is cool, but I feel like there are infinite possibilities of different outfits that he's came out with that you can just do as a Funko Pop. Maybe even if they did the time when he actually bought those famous like red boots. I know what you probably know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's the first thing I was gonna say is if they could pull off one where he has the big red boots, that would be hilarious. But yeah, that's basically what I was gonna say is just a bunch of different attires, because every week he's wearing something new. If we could see even just like 1 or 2 pops where he has a wacky outfit like that, I'd be pretty content.
The next superstar or next superstars, because I've summed them all up into one section, is the 4 Horsewomen. So Becky Lynch, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, and Sasha Banks. And here are the accomplishments all together, which is pretty insane. 15-time Raw Women's Champion. 15-time SmackDown Women's Champion. 5-time NXT Women's Champion. 5-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. The 2019 Money in the Bank winner for the women, which was achieved by Bayley. 3-time Royal Rumble winners, 2019 for Becky Lynch, 2020 for Charlotte Flair, and this past year in 2024 for Bayley. And all of them have achieved the accomplishment of Triple Crown and Grand Slam champions. And I guess I will mention all 4 of these superstars have really etched their name in the history of the women's division. And I think they are kind of the catalyst of like keeping the women as serious competitors instead of at one point we're raising a bar to like, wow, women's wrestling, and then kind of steeping down low to, oh, we're back to bras and panties matches and pillow fights and stuff, and where people aren't taking the women seriously. But I feel like with these 4 women, they've been able to keep the women's division at a high level and even excel it.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with that. They really changed how women's wrestling is, and all 4 of them are great in their own ways. What they can do for the business is amazing, and I feel like at this point in WWE, there's more women superstars than there's ever been. Like, there's so many that, like, I see and I'm like, when did this person come to the company? I don't even know who this is, which is absolutely fine because they're really starting to just kick it up a notch and just becoming very, very good competitors. And yeah, all of the titles that they've all had together is insane, of course. Sasha not with the company anymore, but that's okay because I would say out of all of them, she's my least favorite. I was a pretty big fan of Bayley for a while. Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair are arguably like the two best women's wrestlers.
And as terms to matches, I didn't write 4 down for each of them because that'd be insane to try to think of 16 different matches. The first one I wrote down is actually probably my favorite women's match in the last literally 10 years, which was the match between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair at the all-women's pay-per-view Evolution in 2018. I feel like you can't not mention about Bayley versus Sasha Banks at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn in 2015, where Bayley won the NXT Women's Championship from Sasha Banks, and then shortly after, Sasha Banks went to the main roster. One that I thought I'd mention actually is for Sasha Banks, even though I will actually agree that she's my least favorite of the 4 horsewomen, is Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair from WrestleMania 37, where Bianca Belair won her first main roster. And then one I thought I would mention because it was actually like a dream match I never thought would happen, but ended up happening a couple of years ago, is Becky Lynch versus Lita at Elimination Chamber 2022. So that was pretty cool to see my favorite women's wrestler today against my favorite women's wrestler when I was growing up watching wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era.
Yeah, that match was definitely really cool. It's amazing to see that that was even able to happen. I feel like there was a Bayley match, but I can't remember who it was, but there was a standout Bayley match. I wish I could remember who it was. But I really enjoyed like the matches that Bayley had when she had the hugger gimmick.
And when it comes to the Funko Pops, first off, number 39 is for Bayley, and it's the only Bayley Pop that we have, which is a Toys R Us exclusive, which is the hugger gimmick. We have a Sasha Banks Pop, which is number 42 in the WWE lineup. 2 Charlotte Flair Pops that are number 62, one with the green peacock outfit, and then there is the blue version that's exclusive to Foot Locker, which I actually do have in my collection. Then the first Becky Lynch Pop was number 65 in her like one-piece outfit. Then they did number 70, which is the man Becky Lynch that's exclusive to Amazon. Pop number 102 in the lineup was Becky 2 belts, emulating her WrestleMania 35 main event win. That was a TargetCon 2022 exclusive. And then we have the pointless 2-pack, in my opinion, of the gold Charlotte and Ric Flair exclusive to the WWE shop. And pops that I want to see, I think first off, I would like to see current Bayley be made into a Funko Pop at this point. And then the rest are both Becky Lynch related pops, where I feel like you could do Becky Lynch once again, kind of emulating her husband Seth Rollins by doing like the wacky outfits she was doing. And then I feel like this one would be likely for the sake of finally getting a pop of a certain superstar, and that is doing a 2-pack of Becky Lynch and Lita when they were the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I definitely think that is a pretty good way to do that. I mean, there's not a ton of different versions I feel like you can get each of these women, but I do have the Bayley and I do have the Sasha Banks, and that Sasha Banks pop is actually really good. So of course I don't see Funko doing another Sasha Banks pop, but I don't think they really need to either because that one is just really good the way that it is.
Next superstar we're going to be talking about is the superstar that is basically carrying the company today. It's Cody Rhodes, Atlanta, Georgia, 222 pounds, the current undisputed WWE champion as of the recording of this podcast, 2-time Intercontinental champion, 7-time tag team champion, twice with his brother Goldust, twice with Ted DiBiase Jr., once with Hardcore Holly, Drew McIntyre, and main event Jey Uso recently. He is the 34th Triple Crown champion and is a 2-time Royal Rumble winner, having won the last 2 years of 2023 and 2024.
Cody Rhodes is wicked. I love Cody Rhodes so much, and I know a lot of people say like, he wouldn't be where he is right now without AEW and kind of giving him that push, and it's like, okay, I can get that reasoning, but Cody Rhodes was put in a really good position in WWE from the start, with being like in the Legacy and then put with Randy Orton. I thought that was really, really good, and then it kind of went south. Of course, you have the Stardust gimmick, and that's kind of where it was like the end of WWE for him. But he is amazing. He's so fun to watch. I don't see why people hate on him so much. They're like, it's a boring title run. It's good. He's doing good stuff, and I don't really understand it. Cody Rhodes is awesome. One of my favorites of all time for sure.
For matches that I had written down, I didn't want to mention anything from like Stardust era of Cody Rhodes, but the earliest that I did think of off the top of my head is the tag team match he had with Goldust against The Shield at Battleground 2013, where they they won the tag team championships from Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, which was an emotional night because I think both their careers were on the line during that match. I actually did put down his singles match against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam 2023, especially with that like unexpected ending of like Brock Lesnar raising his hand and hugging him afterwards. And then I thought we mentioned about Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, but we didn't mention about Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins versus The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, that tag team match of Bloodline Rules. It's gonna be Bloodline wrestling brain rot. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that because that's also a WrestleMania 40 main event for night one more specifically. And then I thought I would mention Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles, basically the first defense of the Undisputed Championship at Backlash. And it's mainly also because of how amazing the Lyon, France crowd was.
So you definitely highlighted a lot of the best ones. I think like the highlight match in his career, or at least the most memorable, is definitely the Seth Rollins match. I mean, wrestling with that bad of an injury is insane. That torn pec was disgusting, and it is quite literally a defining moment for his career.
For the sake of Funko Pops, he has 2 as terms of the WWE lineup, technically 3 when you also include that New Japan Pro Wrestling Pop, but we aren't talking about that because it is the WWE podcast. So we have number 123, which was a Walmart exclusive, basically his entrance from the night he returned at WrestleMania 38, and then number 152, which is Cody Rhodes with the torn pec, which I'm not surprised because we even seen Mattel with their figures pulling off that figure, so I'm not surprised Funko jumped on the bandwagon. And as terms to pops I want to see next for Cody Rhodes, I actually mentioned this on the last podcast we did for WWE for PG era, because this is technically a PG era version of Cody Rhodes, that is dashing Cody Rhodes with an undashing Cody Rhodes chase. One I also wrote down would be Cody Rhodes from WrestleMania 40 with like the entrance where he had that like big mask of his logo. I think that'd be pretty decent. And then one I thought I'd write down is something that actually exists because of Mattel, and that is doing that WWE TMNT crossover and having the Cody Rhodes Casey Jones figure that they did as a Funko Pop. I think that was the best one that they did for that WWE figure set, and if they were to make Funko Pops of that exact same theme, I would love for that one to be a part of that lineup.
Yeah, I think all of those ideas are really awesome. The dashing and undashing is really cool. That mask, that would be so cool in Funko Pop form, in my opinion. I would love to see a legacy version of Cody Rhodes. I think like the black hair, I guess you do kind of get that with dashing Cody Rhodes, but I don't know, I think a legacy version would be pretty cool. And then a Stardust I think would be really cool as well, especially when you can do different colors with it if you want to do like a chase variation or not. I could see why they don't do that. I would personally buy a Stardust. I think that would be really awesome.
Next superstar we're talking about is Drew McIntyre. Ayr Scotland, 275 pounds, 2-time WWE champion, World Heavyweight champion, NXT champion, Intercontinental champion, 2-time tag team champions, once with Cody Rhodes like we mentioned, but also a tag team champion with Dolph Ziggler at one point. He is the 31st Triple Crown champion and the winner of the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble match and this past year's Money in the Bank winner. Unfortunately, he did fail to do so, but it excelled the storyline with him and CM Punk.
The most insane thing is just seeing where he is in WWE right now, and like his physique is crazy, especially when you look back to like the days of like 2009, 2010 when he was just like this young guy that was not anywhere as built as he is now. He's pretty wicked. I like his moveset a lot. I think that the Claymore is a wicked move. I don't know if it's like, I guess it is a good finisher, but it's just cool and he pulls it off really well, especially being like the size that he is, getting up there and like kicking someone in the head like that. Pretty dang impressive.
Then for matches that I wrote down, I only wrote one match from his early days, but I did put down his match with John Morrison at TLC 2009, the night where he won the Intercontinental Championship for the first time, and that was also the same night where Sheamus won the WWE Championship for the first time by just pushing John Cena off the top rope and through a table. And then more current Drew McIntyre, I feel like these, I guess you could say 3, but in total it's actually 5, and you'll understand why. His match with Roman Reigns at Clash of the Castle 2022, the dirty finish there with, of course, the debut of Solo Sikoa on the main roster to cost him the match. His match with Sheamus and Gunther from WrestleMania 39, the triple threat match for the Intercontinental Championship. And then this is where I mentioned about 5 because 3 at the same time is the trilogy of matches he had this past year with CM Punk. The match at SummerSlam with Seth Rollins as special guest referee, the strap match or the bull rope match, I can't exactly remember, from Bash in Berlin, and then of course the Hell in a Cell match that people are regarding in like maybe the top 5 greatest Hell in a Cell matches matches of all time, a match that, surprisingly enough, I still have yet to see because I was booked on a wrestling show that exact night and haven't been able to watch that pay-per-view yet, or Crown Jewel, actually. But I just keep hearing, like, great things about that Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that Hell in a Cell match, which I have yet to see as well, and I'm very intrigued because, yeah, I've been hearing a ton of people, even just at my work, like, saying, like, yeah, that match is an amazing match. But yeah, other matches, I don't know, you named most of the big ones.
And for Drew McIntyre's Funko Pops, there's only 2 that they've made. There's number 87, which is basically when he first won the WWE Championship. He's not holding a title, but it's basically during that era. And then there is the newest one that was made, number 151, where he is wearing the kilt and he's holding his sword, Angela, which are pretty decent Funko Pops. And then as terms to Pops that I want to see next for Drew, I could only write 2 instead of 3. So the first one would be a younger Drew McIntyre where he's wearing the trunks that basically is the flag of Scotland. So I think that'd be pretty cool. Maybe have that Intercontinental Championship that he would have had that's basically like Attitude Era Intercontinental title. And then this one I think would be absolutely hilarious if they pull this one off, is I wrote it as Drew McIntyre meme. It's basically based off of already another meme of the person who does the peace sign in front of the tombstone, and they made into a t-shirt where Drew McIntyre is doing the peace sign in front of a tombstone that says, I believe, CM Punk's WrestleMania event 2024 to 2024, and I think it'd be hilarious if somehow they pull that off.
Yeah, that is funny. I totally would have never thought of that. But yeah, just a younger version. And I think you're totally right about the trunks. I think that that is the perfect attire. And then adding the Oval Intercont, my favorite championship belt of all time, I think would be really cool as well.
Next superstar we're talking about is actually a women's wrestler, because women's wrestling's huge in the last 10 years. It's Asuka. Osaka, Japan. 3-time WWE Women's Champion, SmackDown Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, 4-time WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, twice with Kairi Sane, once with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. The winner of the 2020 Money in the Bank ladder match for the women, which was kind of pointless because they were just given the title when Becky Lynch had to vacate it due to pregnancy. And then was the 3rd Women's Triple Crown champion and the 2nd Women's Grand Slam champion. I also did forget to put in my notes that she was the winner of the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble match in 2018. But for basically and giggles, because it actually was written on Wikipedia, and I thought I'd mention this, is that she was the Season 1 winner of the Mixed Match Challenge with The Miz.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Asuka is wicked. She is just so good at wrestling, which makes sense. I mean, it's a huge thing in Japan, so it does make a lot of sense that she's at the level that she's at. It's funny when, like, she tries to speak English because she's not obviously very fluent in English, so sometimes it gets hard for, like, her character to actually get, like, a good push because she can't really interact as much, but at the same time I don't think she needs it just because of her skill level.
Then for matches that I put, I have her match with Bayley from NXT TakeOver Dallas, which was the night that Asuka won the NXT Women's Championship. A match that I thought of actually first off the top of my head was a match she had with Mickie James at NXT TakeOver Toronto, and then I had to put down the Royal Rumble 2018, I mean the first one, and she won it, which was pretty surprising considering that they could have went with, let's say, a Charlotte Flair or even a Becky Lynch, one of the 4 horsewomen, but they went with someone completely different. And then I put for recent matches is her match with Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 39. I couldn't think of anything from like Damage Control days for some reason, but that one I remember being pretty entertained by it, especially I believe there was the spot of like goes for the blue mist and she ducks it.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to mention. I'm a huge fan of Bianca, so that WrestleMania 39 match, I really loved that. And then of course, yeah, the Royal Rumble match was so good as well. I think she was very, very deserved.
Then for the Funko Pops, there is 4 for Asuka, so there is 2 of them for number 56. One of them is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, which I believe in this version it is her without the face paint or without the mask, and then there was one with the mask that is the Target exclusive. Oh, and there's also another number 56 Walmart exclusive where it was a different design of the mask that she would wear. And then there was number 96, which is like, I guess more of a current, but not really of a like non-face painted or no masked version of Asuka, which I thought was a bit of a letdown. But I think if anything, if they're going to make more Asuka bops, it's her with the current face paint, so I think a pop of that would be pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up doing like a Damage Control multi-pack, and that's how you get the next Asuka.
Yeah, I don't know if I could really think of like any different ones that I want to see, but the Asuka pops are cool because her attire is just so wicked and so artsy the way that her outfits always are. So I'm sure that Funko can still pull off doing more Asuka pops that look really good.
Next superstar we're talking about is also a women's competitor, and it's Alexa Bliss. Columbus, Ohio, 3-time Raw Women's Champion, 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion, 3-time Women's Tag Team Champions, twice with Nikki Cross and once with Asuka, like we mentioned. A former 24/7 champion, which I forgot about that, 2018. Money in the Bank ladder match for the women, and then the second Women's Triple Crown Champion.
Yeah, Alexa Bliss is awesome. She's just a tiny little thing, but she's fierce, and obviously she's made an impact in wrestling when you have a song named after you. The song is about you. Bowling for Soup, they made a song called Alexa Bliss. Pretty good tune, actually. But yeah, she's awesome. The stuff that she did with Bray Wyatt was really, really cool. Wish we could have got more of that, but of course with the passing of Bray, you can't really see more of that. I hope that, I don't even know, she's not back right now, is she? Yeah, she's still out. So when she comes back eventually, I hope that she does something awesome.
For matches, I can actually only think of 3. Actually, did I write 3? No, 4. I did write 4. Okay. Backlash 2016, which was like the 6-way women's match to determine the inaugural SmackDown Women's Championship, which was won by Becky Lynch. But I also did add the match that she had one-on-one with Becky Lynch at TLC 2016, where she did win the SmackDown Women's Championship for the first time. The Elimination Chamber match in 2018, because that was the inaugural Women's Elimination Chamber match. And then the fact that she was also part of the Women's War Game match in 2022, which was the very first Women's War Games match on the main roster instead of just NXT. I don't know why I couldn't think of Alexa Bliss matches off the top of my head besides, I guess, those ones.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking right now. Like, I'm trying to think of an Alexa Bliss match, and I just cannot think of a single one right now.
And then for Alexa Bliss pops, we have ourselves 3, technically 4, because there is number 49, the OG Alexa Bliss when she first arrived onto the main roster. And then there is number 104 in the set, which is more of darker Alexa Bliss, where she has the Lily doll that is exclusive to Walmart, which I thought was a pretty sweet pop. And then 107, where it is more of the Bray Wyatt-esque Alexa Bliss, which there also is the chase figure of the attire she wore when I guess she betrayed Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 37, which I thought was awesome to do that for a common and a chase. And then as terms to future Alexa Bliss pops, I don't know what they could do that isn't like, I guess, backtracking to the older days of Alexa Bliss, or she hasn't really done nothing as like regular Alexa Bliss this time around, because we didn't get that much of her before her getting pregnant and her having not been on TV since prior to WrestleMania 39 in 2023. So I don't know what they can do for Alexa Bliss besides maybe if they can pull off one more version of darker Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, realistically, the only thing that I can think of that would make sense, and this would have to be a couple of years into the future, if she does end up returning and joining like the Wyatt 6 and whatever attire, if that happens, she does there, then maybe do a pop of that.
Next set of superstars, I jammed all these into one category, so it's basically the Judgment Day, but we're highlighting a bunch of superstars within the Judgment Day. You know who's a part of the group, and especially the ones that have had pops, but altogether, the Universal Championship, 2-time NXT Champion, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, United States Champion, 2-time NXT North American Champion, 4-time Tag Team Champion, the Raw Women's Championship, 3-time Women's World Champion, the NXT Women's title, the NXT UK Women's Championship, the 24th Grand Slam Champion being done by Finn Balor, the 7th Women's Triple Crown Champion, and the 5th Grand Slam Women's Champion, all done by Rhea Ripley, I believe, and then the 2022 Women's Money in the Bank ladder match winner with Liv Morgan, and then the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble winner with Rhea Ripley. And I guess I can mention about one-time World Heavyweight Champion with Damian Priest, but he doesn't have a Funko Pop at the moment, which is, I guess, why I didn't include it in my notes.
I really love Dominik Mysterio, like, projected himself to be so much better than what he was at the beginning, which makes sense, but the Judgment Day really turned his career around, and that's really awesome. And then there's Damian Priest. I don't really understand Damian Priest. Like, okay, sure, he's like this big guy, but to me, Damian Priest is kind of like The Undertaker, but if he was a pussy. It's really weird. I really don't understand.
As terms to matches, this one I wrote for Finn Balor more specifically is his match with Seth Rollins at SummerSlam 2016 as the Demon Finn Balor, and where he won the inaugural Universal Championship before vacating it the next night due to the shoulder injury. For Rhea Ripley, I put down her match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39, where she won the SmackDown Women's Championship, now known as the Women's World Championship. For Dominik, I put his match with Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania 39, 39. I thought that was pretty cool, especially with like the entrance he made where he came out of a cop vehicle, which was pretty sweet. And then this one I believe was for Liv Morgan, which is a recent match of her and Becky Lynch at the King and Queen of the Ring this year, where she won the Women's World Championship from Becky Lynch. So that's kind of what I've highlighted. I'm sure there's obviously so many other matches, especially from Finn Balor, that can be mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. Finn Balor, I want him to get out of the group. I think that it's holding him down so much. But I like Finn Balor as a singles competitor. But yeah, for matches, definitely Dominik versus Rey. For Finn Balor, I guess I'll say the match with Edge, the Hell in a Cell match. What pay-per-view was that?
That was WrestleMania 39.
Okay. That was an okay match. It was kind of weird, and I think it was Finn Balor got injured in that match, right?
Head got busted open, but that's also the match that Finn Balor should have won.
Yeah, I can agree with that, even though I love Edge. But yeah, Finn Balor probably should have won that match.
And then for Funko Pops within the group, of course, unfortunately, Damian Priest doesn't have a Funko Pop, so I can't mention one about him, maybe later on in the pod, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Finn Balor has a few pops, number 34, where he also has a chase figure of Demon Finn Balor, number 38, which is a Demon Finn Balor pop that is exclusive to FYE. Then they did the Balor Club Finn Balor, which was exclusive to Amazon, number 118 in the WWE lineup. Rhea Ripley, number 122 in the lineup, and I'm sure at some point there will be another, maybe one or two Rhea Ripley pops down the line. Liv Morgan has two pops in the set, number 129 and 130 respectively. One was, I believe, Fun on the Run exclusive with the black attire, and I think 130 was the one where it's the green attire, and she's holding the SmackDown Women's Championship after winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. And then Dirty Dominik Mysterio finally getting his own Funko Pop, number 163 in the lineup. And as terms to pops that should be made within the Judgment Day, I don't know what I could think of besides maybe a couple that are singular, because I feel like the easiest way is just doing a Judgment Day multi-pack, but which Judgment Day are they doing? Could they do, well, at this point, not OG Judgment Day because Edge is no longer in the company, but like with now Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley out of the group, like they can't really do that Judgment Day, so do they go with the newer Judgment Day? But the only thing that I have really, so I do have actually on my list, Demon Finn Balor from WrestleMania 39, where there is like the tinge of purple in the attire also, or the face paint. And then for multi-packs, a Liv and Dom, and make Dominik Mysterio officially with that mullet and that dirty stash. And then you could do Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest as a 2-pack, being like the Terror Twins as they were calling themselves. And then one I wrote down, and I mentioned it as a joke to MD a few days ago because someone made a picture of it, is actually doing a Pop Wanted poster of Dominik Mysterio. I think that'd be absolutely freaking hilarious that they pull that off.
Yeah, that would be hilarious. And then one that I'm surprised that you didn't mention is doing a Funko Pop of JD McDonough, because his head's so big that he looks like a Funko Pop anyways.
I was going to mention him, but he doesn't have a Funko Pop, so I was just mainly going with superstars who already have Funko Pops. What could be their next one? But nonetheless, the next set of superstars, I thought I would mention both of these two at the same time because they were also a tag team, is Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, both from Quebec, Canada, 2-time NXT champion, Universal champion, 6-time Intercontinental champion, 3-time US champion. They were the undisputed tag team champions, and with Kevin Owens, he's the 23rd Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, I love Sami Zayn. I've always loved him throughout his time in mostly WWE, but of course elsewhere as well. Kevin Owens is okay, in my opinion. I think he's a good wrestler, but I think that Sami Zayn is just so awesome. He's so cool, and the stuff that he did with like the bloodline, that was funny and cool. The promos are really good for that.
I think as terms to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn together in matches, their match at Battleground 2016, of course, we've seen what they could do on the NXT roster, but having that one-on-one match on the main roster was pretty sweet. Together as a tag team, of course, their match against the Usos at WrestleMania 39, the main event of night one, and deservingly so. Oh, that match was awesome, and the crowd was definitely into that one. As terms to Kevin Owens himself, I put down his match with Shane McMahon at Hell in a Cell 2017. That's only, for some reason, the only one I could think of off the top of my head. And then for Sami Zayn, the two matches I put were his match with Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber 2023 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And then we have the match with Gunther this past year at WrestleMania 40 for the Intercontinental Champion, which is absolutely awesome of a match.
Yeah, that definitely was. One of the only things that I can think of for Kevin Owens is the trilogy that he had with Cena. I thought that was great.
And then when it comes to Funko Pops, there's only 2 Funko Pops together, which Kevin Owens number 27 in the WWE lineup pretty early on, and then one of the most recent pops was Sami Zayn number 153 with the honorary Oos t-shirt. It's weird when trying to think of future pops for either one of them because I see more of a chance of Sami Zayn getting different variants than I do with Kevin Owens, because Kevin Owens has kind of obtained the same look his entire career, but with Sami Zayn you can go back and do like the short hair days. You can even do more current Sami Zayn without the honorary Oos t-shirt. So there's more you can do with Sami Zayn than Kevin Owens, I feel, at this point.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see a older version of, or a younger technically version of Sami Zayn, and if they could do like the posing right where it looks like he's kind of doing his dance, I think that that would be a really dang cool pop.
And then the last superstar we're going to be talking about before we mention some honorable mentions and what pops I want to see next, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles, Gainesville, Georgia, 220 pounds, 2-time WWE champion, 3-time United States champion, Intercontinental champion, Raw Tag Team champions with Omos, which I honestly totally forgot about, 32nd Triple Crown champion, and the 22nd Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, AJ Styles is awesome. It's crazy to think that he's been in the company longer than he was in TNA. Like, when that kind of stat came out, like a couple years ago now at this point, it like blew my mind. I'm like, holy crap, that is crazy. But AJ Styles is awesome. He's a great person outside of the ring, and he is phenomenal inside the ring as well. He's just so awesome and really cool. It was so exciting to see him coming to WWE.
For matches, the first one I put down is his match with John Cena at SummerSlam 2016. I know people like the Royal Rumble one because that's when Cena obtained the 16th World Championship, and currently, as of the recording of this podcast, tied with Ric Flair. Who knows if on the retirement tour he's going to break that record. I also put down AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar from Survivor Series 2017, which I still say to this day is Brock Lesnar's best match since coming back in 2012. Then his match with Randy Orton on an episode of SmackDown, I believe, prior to WrestleMania 33, and it involved that one spot of going for the phenomenal forearm, knowing that Randy Orton was going to go for the RKO and stopped himself, and then eventually when he goes for the phenomenal forearm, goes for the RKO, and Randy wins the match. I believe if like AJ won that match, he would take that title opportunity. And then I thought I would mention this as like one of the last recent matches I could think of, besides obviously I mentioned about the Leon France match earlier, is the Boneyard match, Undertaker's final match at WrestleMania 36.
Yeah, I totally forgot about, one, the Boneyard match, but also, yeah, that SmackDown match with that spot was so cool. I need to rewatch that because that was very awesome. The one match that comes to mind to me is, I think, SummerSlam with Samoa Joe. It's awesome to see like both those guys being in WWE coming from TNA, and they're both so good.
And for Funko Pops, there's actually only one AJ Styles pop, number 37 in the WWE lineup, and this is also one of those cases like I mentioned with Kevin Owens earlier, is like, what else do you do with AJ Styles that like, what, just make one with longer hair than he does in that pop? But even then he has long hair in that pop. Maybe like you can do that special Japan outfit with like the mask that he comes out with. I don't know what else you can do besides, and once again, I'm going down the route for the one pop I put down here, the meme route. And I think you know where I'm going with this. It is the AJ Styles Undertaker meme from that one part of the Boneyard match, where the best example of one I could think of that someone used as a template was like, son raises his voice at his mom, and it's like, dad is behind him.
Yeah, I definitely think that could be pulled off very easily with just doing like a albums type of box and then just having like the picture of Taker be the background and then AJ's there. That would be a really good way to do that. I love that idea. But yeah, for AJ Styles it is really tough. Like, what can you do besides changing the colors of the outfits? But even then, like, unless you're a huge AJ Styles fan, like, are you gonna buy the red version of AJ Styles and the green version when you already have the blue one, which I'm pretty sure it's the blue one, right? That they did. Yeah, because I do have that pop that was like very early on in my collecting days. I had that AJ Styles pop. So yeah, I don't really know what they could do, but I definitely do like the idea of doing that meme pop.
Alright, so before I mention pops that I want to see next for WWE, and I will mention this, superstars that don't have pops yet, instead of just what I mentioned with superstars. Honorable mentions I'll mention right now because all these have pops, but we just didn't have time, unfortunately, to actually talk about all of them. So we got Shinsuke Nakamura, Braun Strowman, Ronda Rousey, Elias, Otis, the Street Profits, Bianca Belair, which I'm really upset we couldn't talk about her just by herself today, Enzo and Cass, and then two of them that I wrote down because they are currently in the rumor mill, but as we are recording this, haven't been confirmed yet, and that is both Gunther and LA Knight are currently in the rumor mill for WWE Pops. There actually is a photo floating around right now of the Gunther Pop, not the greatest quality, but him doing the pose with his arms behind his back, and he does have the current version of the Intercontinental Championship, which is exactly how I imagined of Gunther, so I'm glad they went down that route. So I'm curious to know what the LA Pop's going to end up looking like also, but other than that, those two would have ended up being on my list if they weren't on the rumor mill.
So yeah, talking about some of those superstars that you just listed, yeah, Bianca Belair, it sucks that we couldn't talk about her, but she's wicked. I love her. I think she's definitely in like my top, maybe even 5 women's wrestlers of all time. Enzo and Big Cass, I loved them. They were so over with the crowd back in the day. And then yeah, like you said, with the rumor mill with Gunther, I seen the picture. That Pop's going to be really, really cool. And then LA Knight, we knew it was coming eventually. We're going to get probably multiple LA Knight Pops. Yeah, so that'll be cool as well. They are awesome, and they are definitely super over, both of them, in the WWE right now.
All right, so to end off all the podcasts that we've done, I'm going to mention 5 superstars, or 5 pops, I guess, or sets of pops, depending on how I'm wording this, I think that they should make next, and all these on this list. First one I wrote down, I thought, you know what, Tiffany Stratton. Don't know exactly the exact, maybe if they wait a little bit, and it could be like late 2025 we see this, is right now with her Money in the Bank briefcase, where it's basically a carry-on bag. She definitely is one of those female superstars that I think would probably be in discussion right now as being one of the next ones to have Funko Pops that don't already have one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. I think that her work right now has been really, really good, so it does make sense for her to be maybe the next female to get a Funko Pop that doesn't currently have one.
Next person on my list is someone that has been in the WWE for a few different eras. He was in the PG era, he was in, I guess, the very late Ruthless Aggression era. Actually, he was also a part of the Attitude Era at one point, and that is the golden treasure that is R-Truth. Why hasn't there been an R-Truth Funko Pop? And God, there's so many different things they could do. Like maybe they can go back to when he was like the 53-time 24/7 champion, or it's what did he refer to as the 7-Eleven I-95 title, whatever the huge name that he came up with that title. But the stuff he has been doing the last literally year, because he's only been back from whatever injury he had suffered for like a year. He came back, I believe, the same night as Randy Orton and CM Punk last year, and he's done like the most entertaining stuff of his entire career in the last year. Zack Ryder's got a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't think of R-Truth. Amazing. R-Truth is, yeah, definitely a national treasure. And I got arachnophobia. There's no way I'm climbing up that ladder. And like the My Bad things. Yeah, that would be so great. I would buy a R-Truth Funko Pop for sure.
You know what I just thought of off the top of my head? What if they do a 2-pack and it's R-Truth and Little Jimmy, and you just put a translucent pop?
Yes, just like they did with the what pop was that?
That was the Brady Bunch 2-pack.
Pop. Yes, just like that. That would be amazing.
Next superstar that I have as a Funko Pop is Solo Sikoa. Solo! I had to say that. Wrestling brain rot again. But I feel like Solo's bound to get a Funko Pop at some point. I mean, we already have the other, I guess, at this point it would have been OG Bloodline, but if we're starting the, I guess if we're calling it Temu Bloodline Pops, Solo has to be made at some point. Whether maybe we can get a common one with his outfit and then the chase with like the suit, or it's just him by himself, and maybe they do eventually do the Temu Bloodline multi-pack.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. We will see him very, very soon. I definitely believe that.
The next superstar I have on my list is someone that I mentioned multiple times earlier, and that is Damian Priest. I feel like he's bound to get a Funko Pop. It's a matter of what one they should do, though, and I think the cool one that they should do is when he was the Money in the Bank holder and has the senior Money in the Bank that was all purple for the briefcase. I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, we already got the Otis Pop that had the Money in the Bank briefcase, even though it was a little late from when he was actually holding it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they still do that for the Damian Priest Pop also.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I can definitely see, like, I don't know, I feel like Damian Priest doesn't change that much, so yeah, definitely having the briefcase in there makes a lot of sense.
And the last pop that I have on here is actually a multi-pack, and it's the Wyatt 6. I think that would be a great 6-pack, and of course the 6 pops would be Bo Dallas or Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, Dexter Lumis, Nikki Cross, and then you have Bray Wyatt in there, but more of, you can do it like a translucent pop so it embodies the spirit of Bray Wyatt, because I think that's really what the 6th member of the Wyatt 6 is supposed to be, is Bray Wyatt himself, and that no one really is actually going to fill that role.
Yeah, that's a wicked idea. I would love to see that. Those pops could look so cool. And yeah, with the translucent Bray Wyatt, I think that's a wicked idea. That's wicked.
Anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this edition of a Funko Podcast. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know down below on WWE Pops you want to see next, or superstars that have been your favorites the last 10 years or so. And we hope to see you guys on another video or podcast here on the channel. 1, 2, 3, I'm out of here.
Peace out, peace in. Oh, my bad. That's on me. Peace in, peace out.